Hello, welcome back to the channel, and just like last week, I am going to be showing off my entire Star Trek collection. Now, I know that the Doctor Who one ended up being 2 hours long. Uh, this will probably be longer because I do have a fair more bit of Star Trek media than I do Doctor Who, in terms of the book department that I inherited from my mother after she passed. So yeah, we're just gonna start off with the figures as well as the ships that I have and some of the comm badges that I have as well. So yeah, that's what we'll start off with. Then I'll probably move on to posters, which I only have two of. Then I will probably do the DVD, Blu-ray, VHS side of the collection. And then I will, of course, then, do the comic book collection and then the book collection. Um, or I might do the comics before, after the posters and before the DVDs and Blu-ray. I don't know. We'll see what humor I'm in. To be completely honest with you. Anyway, let's start off with the com badges, and I have the very first one that I have. Now, this actually technically isn't a com badge. This is a Delta. This is an original series silver Delta that I bought from Wish. And it is, proper metal, and it comes with, two pins. And, it is a kind of a sore one to wear because, as you see there are the still the points, even with this on fully. Um, but, it's not a bad pin, to be honest with you. It is accurate to the show. So yeah, this was the first Delta that I got. So moving then into the realm of the next generation. Recently enough, at the very first Comic-Con convention that I went to, there was a vendor selling Star Trek com badges, and I bought two. The first one that I bought was um the TNG season one era com badge. So yeah, this is the original com badge, and it is on a magnet, two-sided magnet. So which is probably better than the pins to keep on. So I just put this the magnet underneath your shirt, and then you line it up, and then theoretically it should not pop off at any point. So yeah, I went for the TNG one because I do like this one. It's the early form of the communicator. So yeah, I'm happy enough to have that in the collection. Then moving on to just these two toy ones that are stands for some of the toys that I have, but I thought I would just, add them in because they are, Starfleet Deltas. Next, we move to the Voyager era com badge, the com badge that I would be the most familiar with, the one that I love the most. And yeah, it's just one of my absolute favorites, and I'm happy to have it. And it has uh, a little magnet compared to the TNG era magnet. And yeah, I'm very happy to have gotten this in the same convention that I got the TNG era com badge. And then the last com badge that I have was another purchase from Wish, and this is the Future Delta, but also has appeared in Lower Decks, first seen in All Good Things, the TNG finale, and anytime there's a future episode, this Delta would be used. And like the first one from Wish, it is on a pin, but it's a better pin than the other. So yeah, I'm very happy to have this one. I'm very happy with all the Deltas that I have. Would I like to get some more, like a Section 31 Delta from Discovery? Yeah. And I'm sure if I was to go to another convention, I would, and I see it there, I would more than likely pick it up. But these are the Deltas that I currently have in my collection. So moving on to the one Christmas ornament that I have. Yes, Star Trek, it does have their own Hallmark Christmas ornaments. It can be ships, it could be just anything really that is Star Trek related. And the one that I have is Spock and the Horta from that episode of the original series, which the name of the episode is escaping me. And it does work. However, the batteries are long gone on this, and I could replace them. I probably should replace them because it does play lines from the show. But yeah, I just haven't done it yet, and this Spock can come off. So here is a better look at the Spock as he is mind melding with the Horta. And then he fits back on. So this was initially got from my mom, but she didn't want to use it as a Christmas ornament. But as you can see, the hook is still there. So I could, put a string around it and use it as a Christmas ornament. But I'm happy enough leaving it as is. So now we'll get on to the 3 action figures that I have from Star Trek. First up, we have Admiral Kirk from that wave. So like I said, I do have the stand that will peg into his foot. Not really well, to be honest with you. It doesn't go in too well. Oh, there we go. That's it there. So there we go. Let me zoom in a bit there for you. So as a likeness to Shatner, it's not there. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of there, but also not. Like the design of the monster maroon armor is absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's perfect. It's just the face sculpt for Shatner is atrocious, and there's no wonder this line got cancelled. That and they didn't really produce many figures. They'd done a Wrath of Khan line, which was of course Admiral Kirk, Khan, and Captain Spock. They did a Next Generation line, which was Picard, Data, and Riker, I believe. And then they did 2 from Star Trek Discovery, which was Burnham and Saru. And then they didn't come out with any other figures after that. And then they cancelled away because of poor sales. I mean, if they had actually put out more figs, it probably could have saved it. But then again, the face sculpts is just god awful. And that's not the only one that I have, because I also do have a Captain Picard that I'm just going to put onto the stand here. And yeah, so this is season 1 Picard, and again, god damn, that does not look like Sir Patrick Stewart whatsoever. The con badge is, it's accurate to the one that I have. We do have the gold pips there. The uniform, is very accurate. However, like I said, it does not look like Patrick Stewart whatsoever. And so that's why I'm glad that the line got cancelled and that these are the only 2 from that Playmates line that I own in my collection. Moving on to a vintage Captain Picard. Yes, this is a 1993 Playmates Picard that actually looks like Sir Patrick Stewart. So we do see the pips there. We do see the com badge there. There is a bit of a dust because he fell, and it's only recently that I got him back. There's a holster there for the face that he's supposed to come with. And he's wearing the jumper version of the uniform from the season 5 episode Darmok, I believe. It's not an episode that I've seen. I haven't seen every episode of Next Gen, but I have seen every episode of every other Star Trek, bar Next Generation, which I'll probably need to fix at some point this year. But yeah, honestly, this is my favorite fig that I own, and I do want to own more of the vintage line. Like I do want to get a Borg fig as well. And yeah, those are the just the action figures that I own from Star Trek. Because you can kind of see in the background, I may as well show it off now. This is what I got a year ago. It is the Type 2 phaser. Since this bit there is Type 1, and I believe I have it on disintegrate, basically, the blue light. I do. So there's three modes. There's that mode. If I turn it this way, and the blinking, that's overloading. And then if I move it back three ways to where the red light is solid, that is stun. And then if I move it, back up one to blue, then it's full power. So yeah, I got that for like €25 on Amazon, and it's absolutely amazing. I did a full unboxing and review of that in my Star Trek reviews and more playlist. So if you want to go check that out, it would be there. So moving on to kind of a misc item here that I found at one point for in the Friday market, which is kind of like a car boot sale, and it is a pack of Star Trek playing cards. It has that picture there. Here is the back of it. So this was released in 2009 for one of the anniversaries. So breaking it up here, this is what the back of the cards look like. And then I'm going to quickly flick through these to show you what the cards are. So there's a lot of repeats, and then the Gorn is the Joker. So yeah, I got that for €2, which I am very happy with. I do have a magnet with this exact design on it, so when I go to show off the books, I'll obviously show that off as well. So moving on now, the only thing left to show for this section would be the starships themselves that I have in my collection. And so we will start with the USS Enterprise NCC 1701. The flash has gone off because the phone is overheating, but thankfully with this Enterprise, there's lights built in. So I got this on Amazon for €12, I think. It came with a little booklet as well. So yeah, it's only these lights that are on, not the Bussard collectors, unfortunately. But it would have been cool if they did light up. And there's the flash on. So yeah, I'm happy enough with just owning this version of the USS Enterprise, but it's not the only USS Enterprise NCC 1701 that I own. I do own the Hot Wheels Kelvin Enterprise as I drop it. So I'll show it off without the stand. So yeah, this is the Hot Wheels diecast USS Enterprise NCC 1701 from the Kelvin movies. So yeah, the Bussard collectors on this one isn't even painted blue. At least they actually did the deflector in the correct color. And they do have the streak along there with the 1701 on the nacelles. And for what it is, it's nice. It's nice to have. I have two versions of this. One which is opened, as you've seen. I've just put it back on her stand. And I do still have a sealed one because the one I have opened is in better condition than the sealed one. So yeah, that is that. Now, again, that's not the only USS Enterprise that I have. I do have the USS Enterprise NCC 1701D. I do apologize, that's going to keep happening as the phone overheats. As a way to compensate, it is going to knock off the yoke, and I am filming this at night, so I do apologize for that. But like I said, I do have a model kit USS Enterprise NCC 1701D that I have still yet to paint. I found this in a charity shop with its original box. I just have not gotten around to painting it yet. It did come with a stand. However, the stand was garbage and could not contain the weight of the Enterprise. So I just basically have it displayed like that on my bookcase. And now we get into the Eagle Moss starships that I have. So we'll go in order of era, we'll say. So I have the first one that I have to show off here is one that was destroyed in the Battle of Wolf 359 that had its name changed in post-production because of the original name of the ship. It is the Springfield class USS Chekhov, renamed the USS Kyushu. So I will take her off of the stand whilst we have a proper look. So this is a Galaxy class kit bash. So yeah, I honestly really do like the look of this ship. It has grown on me. As a kit bash, as something from Project Galaxy, I really do enjoy the look of it, especially the secondary hull looks absolutely amazing. And I just love every little bit about it. So the USS Chekhov NCC 57302. So as I said, the name was changed to not upset original series fans when it was named as one of the destroyed ships at the Battle of Wolf 359. So, knock shit over. Great. Because now the stand on that's gone. And I have to fucking fix it. Yeah, so then the next one, the next ship is a mirror universe ship. God fucking damn it. Hold on. Right, that's just the way that the Hot Wheels Enterprises are going to have to stay, because it is a finicky bitch that loves to fall off its stand. But yeah, the next ship I have to show off is a ship that is a mirror universe counterpart to the one that we know and love, and that is the ISS Defiant mirror universe. So this, like the USS Chekhov, and like one other ship that I'll be showing off that isn't Federation, I got this in the at my local arcade for 950 tickets. So yeah, it's basically the same mold of the the usual USS Defiant, just with the Terran symbols on it, as well as it being the ISS Defiant. And it doesn't even have the oh no, it does have, oh sorry, I was about to say it doesn't have the registry. It does, it's just super hard to see. I'm trying to get it to focus, see if I can get it to focus. You can there we go, NX74 74205. So yeah, that is the it's also on the underneath. So yeah, that is the ISS Defiant. As I'm trying to remember how to attach this. Hold on. Okay, so the next hero ship was seen at the Battle of Sector 001 in the best Star Trek movie ever made, Star Trek First Contact, Fuck You, Fight Me. And that is the USS Thunderchild, NCC 6. It loves to fall off the stand. So let me just show it to you off of the stand real quick. So yes, this is the Akira class USS Thunderchild, NCC 63549. And I absolutely love this ship. Obviously, it would later go on to be the inspiration for the NX-01 Enterprise, but in universe, it was the NX-01 Enterprise that influenced the Kira class in either alpha or beta canon, because you see here, well, you can't because it's kind of blurry. Yeah, there's the slit that would have had the deflector for the NX Enterprise, but this is my favorite ship class of all time. So let me just put her back on the stand there. So just two more Eaglemoss ships to show off, and then I have two Lego custom ships to show off. Starting with a fake Federation ship. That is the USS Dauntless NX-01-A, which would later go on to be the inspiration for the proper USS Dauntless design. And yeah, so I picked this up at the very first Comic-Con I ever went to. And, it's a not bad looking ship, in my honest opinion. There's a reason Janeway had this as their main ship in Prodigy Season 1, for a real USS Dauntless. So yeah, it's not a bad design in my opinion. Now I have one more Eaglemoss ship to show off, and that is not a Federation ship. So just bear with me as I put the Dauntless back on her stand, and we'll just place the Dauntless there. And that being, I'm actually going to pre-take it off the stand, is the Bajoran Attack Fighter from the DS9 show. So yeah, this is the Bajoran Attack Fighter seen in I believe, the Dominion War, at least, during season 6 and 7. Because I remember watching a trailer for it on my VHS copy of Star Trek Insurrection and seeing it there. So this was the second ship model that I got from the arcade. So yeah, that's all my Eaglemoss ships. Now we get on to the Lego ones. So we have just this random Lego ship that I made. So I obviously had to hold some of these bricks together. It was just a quick little hodgepodge of a ship. It's not, I don't even display it, but because it's a Lego ship and it's Star Trek, for this video, I'm going to show it off. However, this is my favorite one that I have designed. This is just a random Lego ship that I have designed. So there is the deflector. It's kind of like a Sovereign class in a way. But it is very blocky for the hull, but it can have its own saucer separation, and that is it. So now it's just time to show you off the posters and then the comic book collection as I go put this display back on to the bookcase. So this is the first of the Star Trek posters there. It is a blueprint for the USS Dauntless, which was seen during the, primarily used a lot during the early days of Starfleet and the United Earth Front, and was the quickest ship to turn out for the Earth-Romulan War compared to the NX ships, later renamed the Columbia class, not the Dauntless, but the NX class. And then over yonder, I have an official Star Trek Insurrection poster, which was a kind gift from Video Tasties on YouTube. So yeah, that's where that one lives. Okay, so here is the Star Trek comic/magazine collection that I have. I have just ordered them in timeline order-ish. So obviously starting off here, we have the DC comic, Star Trek, Target Enterprise, with those people who worked on it up there. I'm assuming one of them is the writer and art director. I have not read this yet. This is a recent pickup from the very first comic convention I went to last November. So I have yet to get around to that. This next one is a amalgamation of the original series and Next Generation, because we start off with the original series side of the story in the Mandola interpretive. I am butchering that. So yeah, we start off with the original series, and then it goes into the next generation, picking up some time, like just to finish off the story of that, where the crew of the Enterprise D go back to the where the original series crew went to it to figure out what went wrong. I have read some of this. I've read the original series side of things, not the next gen side of it. The original series part of it is fine. I actually, thoroughly enjoyed it. I can actually, flip open and show you some of the artwork on it. It's mainly Chekhov, um, going on an away mission with Kirk himself. Like, look at that beautiful shot of the Enterprise there, and another one there. And then from looking at the next gen side of things and the cover of the uh, the graphic novel, it's the Ferengi that have set stuff up. And then of course, in this we do see McCoy show up in the TNG version of it. We see Old Man McCoy there, and Spock also shows up. So yeah, it's like I said, I still need to read the TNG side of things. I'll probably reread the TOS side of things. Then we have the Star Trek graphic novel collection, volume 13, from the Marvel Comics, which is still factory sealed from when I bought it at the very first comic convention that I went to. Speaking of, we do have a different unsealed version of the early years of the Enterprise in a graphic novel collection. So here is the back of it. Before James T. Kirk and the 5-year mission, the Enterprise had a different captain with different adventures. Christopher Pike has few appearances on screen, and his time as captain remains mainly unexplored by Star Trek shows and films. Early Voyages is here to change that. Follow Pike and his crew members, including familiar faces like the young Spock, number 1, and Boyce, embark on a series of adventures on their own. So this, of course, came out way before we got the Strange New World series. So it was, again, filling in the gaps of, Christopher Pike, who we didn't really know much of, outside of, the menagerie and the cage, and then his appearances in the Kelvin timeline. So that's all we really knew. Another graphic novel here is Debt of Honor, set during the motion picture era, with the Enterprise there. I think I have read this. I'm not one. No, I haven't read this. So yeah, this is taking place after the search for Spock there. I'm just going to flick through just to give you an idea of what it looks like. Look at that art there of the original Enterprise. So yeah, then we have, set during the Lost Era, a comic for Star Trek Picard's Academy, issue 5 from IDW. I have not read this yet. I bought it 2 years ago, and I have yet to read it. Moving on to Star Trek The Next Generation. I have no idea what this story is called, because it's not really on the cover. It's just says Star Trek The Next Generation, but I believe, judging by the title up there, 6-issue miniseries based on the hot new TV show. This came out in around the time that the Next Generation had started. And it's the same issue with this one, but we do see Klingon Birds of Prey. It's just titled Star Trek The Next Generation, 48-page anniversary issue, with no real title on what it is called. So if you know what it's called, do let me know in the comments down below. We have a Star Trek magazine, the Collector's Edition, Part 49, which came with the DVD that has the Power Play, Ethics, and the Outcast. So this was kindly sent to me by a friend of the channel, the Trash Pictured Show, which this did include the blueprint of the USS Dauntless, which you'd seen in the the poster side of the collection. Moving on to a free comic book day, one shot that they done, Star Trek: The Next Generation, Mirror Broken, which I have read, and it's not bad. We do have other like in like comic showcase there, but the art on it is actually pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie. So I'll do a review. Probably I do want to do more comic reviews, as well. So that'll get done at some point. Now this is a giant top loader for specific reasons. This is again a special edition of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Um, Includes Good Listener, a true son of Kalish, Spot's Day, plus pinups. And the reason is because, as you see here, it is signed by Ken Penders from 1993, who is one of the authors on this one. He was the author behind A True Son of Kalish. This was a Christmas gift to me by my cousin, that she got at San Diego Comic Con, or a Comic Con that she went to. So yeah, I'm very happy to have this. I still have it in this top loader, sealed away, and yeah, it's one of the two sealed Star Trek stuff that I have. Getting to the end here, I do have the Star Trek Defined Volume 1 hardback graphic novel here that, again, I have yet to read. So pause if you want to read the back here, because I remember this being a big thing when I was coming out, because it also had to do with Cisco coming back. The last two things I have to show off here is a little comic here, IDW issue 2 of Star Trek Discovery, Adventures in the 32nd Century. This goes over the exact same story, beat for beat, of Gray and Adira that we saw in Discovery Season 3 or Season 4, of how Gray got the Thal symbiote, and then that accident happened, which is what gave Adira the Thal symbiote as well. So that's basically what this cover goes over. And then the last of the comic slash graphic novel slash magazine is another sealed version of Star Trek graphic novel collection, volume 17, entitled Mirrored, dealing with the Kelvin mirror universe, which is something that I did not even think would be a thing. But again, here is the back of the book, if you want to pause and read. And that's all of the Star Trek comics that I have. So now we move on to the DVDs. Okay, on to the DVD portion of the collection, as well as VHS. So we'll start off with the VHS, because I only have one of that, and that is for the Star Trek Insurrection movie. This was a kind gift from Video Tasties. So there is the spine, and then there is the back. So yeah, this is the one and only Star Trek VHS that I own in my collection. I do want to get more, especially First Contact is my holy grail for VHS. I'm just not paying stupid prices on eBay. When I say stupid prices, I mean stupid shipping prices on eBay, just to have it, sent to me. Now, when it comes to Star Trek the original series, I have them as DVD files. Like the magazines that I showed you earlier, that was something that they did, where they'd give them out on a weekly basis, or bi-weekly, or once a month, however they fucking did it. And you'd get 3 episodes on that in that given magazine. And that's how I have my original series collection that I found in a charity shop. Oh, I want to say definitely a year, 2022 or 2023. One of those two, I cannot remember which. For season 1 of the original series, they actually put them in production order. This was the original, how they were supposed to air, but for season 1, they got aired out of order, and because they're going with the air order, not the production order, that's the way it's always been on Netflix and Paramount, or whatever other streaming service you use, or even the DVDs are like that, except for these DVD files. So starting off, I actually just realized I don't have the flash on. So starting off with Volume 1, which has Where No Man Has Gone Before, The Corbite Maneuver, and Mud's Women. And then there is Kirk, Spock, and Yeoman Reed. And then here's the back of the DVD that gives a breakdown of the episodes. Then we move on to disc number volume number 2, which has just Kirk on it, which has The Enemy Within, The Man Trap, and The Naked Time. Now, The Man Trap is the episode that aired. It's the one that is always listed as episode 1, like I said, on DVDs, Blu-rays, and as well as streaming services, but is originally the fourth or the fifth episode in terms of production notes. Moving on to, we have Mark Leonard here as the Romulan from Balance of Terror, which is actually episode 8. So we have Charlie X, Balance of Terror, and What Are Little Girls Made Of? So there is the back. And I'm pretty sure these don't have disc art on them. Yeah, it's just standard. That's what's on every disc. Moving on to volume 4, where we have Dagger of the Mind, Miri, and The Conscience of the King. And then here is the back. Now, I have reviewed every episode of the original series on the channel as 3 different videos, as well as 1 hour-long special edited together. So here we have Volume 5 with the Galileo 7, Court Martial, and the Menagerie Part 1. And then there is the back. Then for number 6, we have the Menagerie Part 2, Shore Leave, and the Squire of Gothos. And then there we go. Then we have the Gorn here on number 7, which has Arena, The Alternate Factor, and Tomorrow is Yesterday. And there is the back there. Now, The Alternate Factor is probably my least liked episode of the original series. I think it's actually the worst one. Moving on, we have Khan Noonien Singh, Ricardo Montalban. So for volume 8, we have The Return of the Arcanons, A Taste of Armageddon, and then Space Seed. So there we go. Moving on to number 9, we have This Side of Paradise, The Devil in the Dark, and Error of Mercy, which I believe is the first time we see a Klingon. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while. It's been nearly 2 years since I last watched all these episodes. And then we get the end of season 1 and beginning of season 2 with volume 10 with The City on the Edge of Forever, Operation Annihilate, and Amok Time. So then moving into series 2, we do get more. It's actually in the correct order. Okay, I had to pause there. Actually, I had to stop the clip because I ran out of space from the 2-hour Doctor Who video, as well as the unedited clips were in my trash, so it was taking up space. Anyway, moving on to volume 11 here, we have Kirk and Mirror Spock for Who Mourns for Adonis, The Changeling, and Mirror Mirror. And then here is the back. Volume 12 has Kirk again with the communicator for the Apple, the Doomsday Machine, and Cat's Paw. An interesting episode, to say the least. Kind of horror-based. Next, we have the Volume 13 with Sarek, with Imud, Metamorphosis, and Journey to Babel. Or Babel, whichever way you want to say it. I really did enjoy iMod. I thought, it's a far better episode than Mud's Women, to be completely honest with you. Moving into volume 14, we have Friday's Child, The Deadly Years, and Obsession. So The Deadly Years is a pretty good episode because a lot of people, when they see McCoy in the first episode of Next Generation Encounter a Farpoint, they're always like, why does he sound Southern? And I have to point it out that after watching, the original series for the first time, after watching The Deadly Years, if you watch it, you hear him get more Southern. And that's just the way McCoy is. The more older he gets, the more the Southernness comes out. So, moving on to volume 15, we have Wolf in the Fold, The Trouble with Tribbles, and The Gamester of Triskelion. So, fun fact about The Wolf in the Fold is the actor who is basically playing the entity known as Jack the Ripper, and who's falsely framing Scotty, is the original voice for Piglet of Winnie the Pooh. So I thought that was interesting bit of knowledge to share. So I'm going to start a second stack as that the first stack is getting pretty big. Next up for volume 16, we have A Piece of the Action, The Immunity Syndrome, and A Private Little War, which is another Klingon episode. And A Piece of the Action is actually a pretty good episode. There's a reason why it's counted as one of the best episodes of the original series. Moving on to volume 17, we have Return to Tomorrow, Pattern of Force, and By Any Other Name. And then here is the back of it. Getting to the end of stack number 1, and near the end of the original series as well. So we have volume 18. We only have 10 more volumes to go. So we have The Omega Glory, The Ultimate Computer, and Bread and Circuits, or Breed and Circuits. Again, I'm dyslexic, so I do apologize. So yeah, the only one from this that I liked is The Ultimate Computer. Omega Glory, it's just racist. It's pro-America. And then Breed and Circus is just a not great episode, to be honest with you. Then we have the end of Series 2 and the start of Series 3 with Assignment Earth, Spock's Brain, and the Enterprise Incident. Now, terrible episode, not as bad as people say, really, really good. Assignment Earth is the backdoor pilot, which is something that, introduces us to the Watchers, which is, something that they eventually did pick back up with, Wesley's the Watcher, and that Spock's Brain is not as bad as people say it is. It's a bad episode, don't get me wrong, but I still had fun watching it. Then we move on to volume number 20, where we have The Paradise Syndrome and The Children Shall Lead. And my favorite title, Is There in Truth No Beauty? And The Children Shall Lead is a terrible episode. I fucking hate it. However, Paradise Syndrome, where Kirk goes native, is not bad, to be honest with you. I actually enjoyed it. So volume 21 here has a Klingon. So we have Spectre of the Gun, Day of the Dove, and For the World is Hollow, and I Have Touched the Sky. Again, I love some of these titles for the original series because it's so poetic. And they're not bad episodes. They're not bad episodes. And then the last one for this stack, we have volume 22, The Tholian Web, Pluto's Stepchildren, and Wink of an Eye. Some pretty good episodes. And then, of course, Pluto's Stepchildren is the one to have the first interracial kiss on television. So now it's time to pause whilst I go get the next stack. Actually, just before I'll start, I do want to show this off. This cool thing feature with it. It's the same with the TNG one. I'm not sure if they did one for DS9, but if you stack all of them together, they do spell out Star Trek, the original series, and then it also shows the Enterprise. So now I'm going to go get the next stack. Okay, so for this next stack, we're going to wrap up the original series and then do all of the next generation. So volume 23 here has the episodes The Empath, Ireland of Tyrus, and Whom Gods Destroy. And so there is the back. Then we have, of course, volume 24, which has the best episode and the best title of an episode, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, The Mark of Gideon, and The Witch Survivors. Now, we have seen in a trailer for the Section 31 movie that there is a survivor from the species from Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. Of course, as of release of this video, the Section 31 movie does release next Friday, so of course I will have a review. So getting very close to the end here with volume 25, The Light of Zatar, Requiem of the Metalish, and The Way to Eden, which, The Way to Eden, terrible episode. Absolutely sucks. I really absolutely hated that episode. So volume 26 has The Cloud Miners, The Savage Curtain, and All Our Yesterdays. So there is the back. And then wrapping up the original series with Turnabout Intruder. Now, as you see, there is Unification Part 1 and 2, because what they done for this was included episodes from the TNG, DS9, and Voyager that dealt with episodes with the original series crew. So they had Unification Part 1 and 2 on here as we wrap up the original series. And then Volume 28 has Captain Hikaru Sulu, with the episodes Relics from TNG, Trials and Tribulations from DS9, and Flashback, the 2 anniversary specials. And then there is the back there. So that is the original series, kind of, because I also have Season 1 and Season 2 of Star Trek, the animated series, on Blu-ray. So here is the slip, and I did review that at the start of last year. So again, it's the same on front and back. So now we move on to the next generation, all 7 seasons of TNG. Now, when it comes to TNG, I have not seen every single episode. So that's probably something that I will address this year, because I've seen every episode of every other Star Trek show. We have the first season of TNG. A lot of people are surprised that it even got a second season or even became popular after the abysmal first and second season. Speaking of which, here is season 2. Now, I don't care for upgrading a lot of these to Blu-ray. Unlike the movies, where I actively sought to get them on Blu-ray. I just don't care. It's like with the Doctor Who's. Like, I know I could upgrade a lot of them to Blu-ray, but I just don't care, to be honest with you. So here is season 3. Because like with the original series DVD files that I have here, that's the original, quality. It's not any of the remastered ugly garbage that came out with the Blu-ray set and the remaster set. Because it's not, I don't like them. I prefer the original look of it all. So that's why I also went for the DVD releases. Now, I also do have the Best of Both Worlds on Blu-ray. Simply because one day whilst I was in CEX, I saw that they were going to throw out this slipcover. And because I do like the cutest side of things, I decided to keep it. So they gave it to me for free. And then the next day, I went in and actually bought the Blu-ray itself, so that way I could reunite it with its original slip. And that was €15 to buy on Blu-ray. I'm sure it's either gone up or down at this point. So I have it slipped in the middle of season 3 and season 4, like the way the actual Best of Both Worlds is. Now, I have the unpopular opinion that I don't like the Best of Both Worlds. I have reviewed it. I have reviewed both Best of Both Worlds parts 1 and 2, and I do explain why in that video, and you can find that in the Star Trek reviews and more playlist. Then we have season 5. Then we have season 6, and then the last one for this stack, we have season 7. So I'm going to pause whilst I go put all of these back onto the bookcase and grab the next stack, which will have what I have of a DS9 collection, because I'm missing a few, and then all of Voyager. And then after I show the TV show side of things, there's of course the movies to show off as well. Okay, so there is one more TNG thing that I have, and that is the Taste of the Next Generation in high definition, which comes with just a few episodes here. Encounter at Farpoint, Sins of the Father, and The Inner Light. So I only got this because it was a very cheap pickup, and like I said, I don't really care for upgrading to Blu-ray on a lot of this stuff. For the original series, TNG, and Enterprise, and the newer tracks. So yeah, it was literally a €2 pickup, so that's why I got it. So moving on to Deep Space Nine, I am missing series 2 and 3. And then I'll have all 7 seasons. So those are the only ones that I am missing. So, as I said, there we have season 1 of DS9. We have season 4. My mistake. Then we have season 5. We have season 6, which is a new acquirance. From the Dublin trip I took at the beginning of December. Then we have the final season of Deep Space Nine. And now I have seasons 1 to 6 here of Voyager, but I do have all the seasons. That's just going to be in the next stack, where I'll get through the last of the Voyager, all of Enterprise, and a bunch of the newer treks. So, starting off with season 1 of Voyager. Yes, this is how CEX sent it to me. I still have it. I still have yet to get a cleaner outer shell, outer box for my season 1. But because I'm not going through and watching and reviewing them yet, I haven't been that pushed. But thankfully the rest are clean. So we have season 2. We have season 3. We have season 4. Then we also have season 5. And then we have season 6. So now it's time to pause and go grab the next stack. Alright, we are now at the end of the TV shows, where we finish off with the 90s Trek / early 2000s Trek. And then we'll get into the more modern Treks. So finishing off with the 7th and final season of Voyager. Now, I have made it known far and wide, Voyager is my favorite Star Trek series. It's the one that I have watched through twice. I love it all. I love Janeway. I love the Borg in this. And I do need to get back to actually reviewing the Borg episodes of Voyager. But we will get to that shortly at some point this year. Moving on to Enterprise. I love season 1 and season 2. I think it gets a bad rap. There are, in my opinion, are a lot of great episodes in this in season 1 and season 2. However, when it comes to season 3 and season 4, I like them not as much as a lot of people do. So that's just me, in my honest opinion. Season 4 is great. The Xindi arc is interesting. I just don't feel it, I probably will need to give it a rewatch at some point. But yeah, that's basically Enterprise, only 4 seasons. So now we move on to the modern Treks with Star Trek Discovery on Blu-ray. So this opens up to give you a look at the crew at the time. And then underneath is the actual Blu-ray. I have watched through this twice. I do love season 1, and I will make it known here. I love Star Trek Discovery. I am a Discovery apologist. I said that in my season 5 review. And yeah, I love and adore Discovery. So I also have the short tracks that came up at the in between season 1 and season 2 of Discovery. Speaking of season 2, I do own season 2 as a recent pickup on DVD. I am missing some seasons of Discovery. I only have now season 4, so I am missing season 3 and season 5, and then that's all of Discovery then on physical media. So moving on to Star Trek Picard, I have the Blu-ray Steelbook for Star Trek Picard that I found in CEX for €30. And yeah, I just knew I had to have it. So there are the discs. I'm not going to take out the discs to show the art in the background. But again, I love season 1 and season 2 of Star Trek Picard. I know not a lot of people do, but I do. But I do have the 3rd season on DVD. So again, season 3 is absolutely amazing. And then again, so is all of it. Now we get on to the last couple here, where we have Star Trek Lower Decks, which, as of filming this, episode 9 has not come out of season 5, so that dates when I'm filming this on the 10th of December. So that is why I only have season 1 of Lower Decks. I also have season 2 on DVD. I also have season 3. And then I have season 4 on Blu-ray. And then the last of the Star Trek TV shows that I have is Prodigy season 1. I love Prodigy. I love both seasons 1 and season 2. Season 2 was superb, and I hope by the time this comes out, there'll have been an announcement for season 3. I just loved how it wrapped up for season 2. And I just loved every single thing about Prodigy. And that is all of the Star Trek TV shows that I have. Of course, next up will be the movies, which I can actually quickly grab as I don't have to move things around to grab them. So I'm going to go put these back on the bookcase, and then we'll go through the movies. Okay, so the last of the Star Trek Blu-rays is, of course, the movies. So let's start off with the motion picture. I love it. I do. I've watched it 2 or 3 times, and I love it every single time. Yes, there are parts that drag on. It was adapted from the pilot of Phase 2. But I enjoy it. I am a motion picture enjoyer. However, I am not a Wrath of Khan enjoyer. This is one of my most top controversial opinions. The fact that I do not like Wrath of Khan. I have made a video, a review of Wrath of Khan when I reviewed all the Star Trek movies last year, explaining exactly why. So again, I refer to you to explore the Star Trek reviews and more playlist. Then we move on to The Search for Spock, a movie that I seen in cinema for the anniversary. So that is my ticket for when I went to go see it. Back in June of last year. So that is wild. But yeah, I enjoyed it more watching it actually on the big screen. The Voyage Home, the very second Star Trek movie I ever watched. I have to get that right. But the one that got me into Star Trek. The one with the whales. And then we get onto The Final Frontier. Not as bad as a lot of people say it is. I actually enjoyed it the second time around. And then the final of the original series movies, we have The Undiscovered Country, a phenomenal send-off to the original crew of the Enterprise. Now we move on to the next generation of movies. So we have Star Trek The Next Generation Motion Picture Collection. There they are there. Here is the backdrop with looks to be a Klingon warboard by the looks of things. And here's the side. So this is what it includes: Star Trek Generation, Star Trek First Contact, the best Star Trek movie ever made. Fuck you, fight me. Star Trek Insurrection and Star Trek Nemesis, as well as Star Trek Evolutions. So taking off the slip here, there is the Enterprise E with a Borg sphere, and then taking them out here, here we have Generations, First Contact, Insurrection, Nemesis, and Evolution. And I don't think they have any disc art. Yeah, they're just, the standard Blu-rays that you would get, and the single Amarais outside of the box set. So yeah, I opted to go for this instead of having the standard, Amarais, because I thought it was a nice, neat little collection box. So yeah, then we get on to the last 3 Star Trek movies until, the Section 31 movie comes out, and that is the Kelvin Treks. So we have Star Trek 2009, which I absolutely loved. I'll just put it there for now. I also have a steelbook for Star Trek Insurrection, which was a gift by AJ over at AJ's Movie Place. He found this out and about, and he already had one, so he picked it up anyway because it was £1, and he sent it to me for free. So I'm very grateful for that. And then lastly, we have Star Trek Beyond. And that is all of the Star Treks that I have on physical media. And we're basically near the end of this video already, because now it's time for the books, which the books are going to take a while. I'm sorry, it's going to take a while. I have a lot of Star Trek books. I have a lot of Star Trek books. You're about to see why. So I was about to call it quits for the night and go crawl into bed because I'm recording this at 10 o'clock at night. But then I remembered there's something else in miscellaneous that I completely forgot to show off. And it wasn't until I seen the pack of it that I'm like, oh, I completely forgot to show this off. I'm going to now need to wrap this, record this, so otherwise I will forget. So yeah, this was a YouTube short that I done, 2 different YouTube shorts, because a cousin of mine, whilst in America, where she lives now, she at an antique store found some sealed Star Trek trading cards. One of them was for the Searchers box, so obviously I kept the packaging, and these were the cards that I pulled from it. We have a young Spock. We have 2 Klingons. We have the USS Grissom. We then have Kirk and Spock at the end of the movie. And then we have a Pavel Chekhov. So that's those. And then there's also, if I can remember where the packaging has gone for that, I think it's fallen. There was another pack that she got me that, and these were what I pulled. I wish I had, oh, here it is. I'm just fucking blind. I'm also really, really tired, if you can't tell. But yeah, we have the original art and compositions from the Final Frontier Star Trek Edition Skybox Master Series. 6 trading cards per pack. Collect all 90. And these were what I pulled. And to be honest, the art on these are superb. So we'll start off with a character card for Captain James Tiberius Kirk. We have a battle from Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, the Enterprise versus the Bird of Prey. We have the USS Reliant trading card from Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. We then also from The Search for Spock have the destruction of the Enterprise. And there are bits and pieces at the back of the cards, but this is just the sleeves that I had. So next we have from the original series, the Enterprise versus the Romulan Bird of Prey. And then lastly, I do have a holographic of the Romulan Warbird. I always struggle saying Warbird. But yeah, this is a holographic. And now we move on to the books. I'm going to go to bed now. Okay, so if the audio sounds a bit echoey, and a new place that I'm filming this, it is because I'm actually filming this in my kitchen. Because, as I said, it's the last things to show off is my Star Trek book collection. Also, if you hear a kitten meowing, that is my Oliver. But yeah, I decided to film down here. So instead of having to, get up and, bring up a new stack and bring another stack back down, constantly going up and down the stairs, why don't I just film this in the kitchen? And I only have one light working in the kitchen at the moment. I could have, for this video, set up another light, but the flash on my phone will do. So yeah, I got quite a lot of books to show off. So without further ado, let's get started with the first book in the collection, the new Star Trek novel, The Entropy Effect. None of these I have read. I'm not going to lie. I have not read a single one of these books. Then why do I have them in my collection? And that is simply because I inherited these from my mother after she passed away. My mother was a massive Star Trek fan, and so that's why these are in my collection. So moving on, I have a set of 3 novels here. One of them is titled The Classic Episodes 1 of Star Trek for the 25th Anniversary Edition. And I also have the second, the Classic Episodes 2. So we have, on the first one, we have an introduction by DC Fontana, one of the main writers of the original series, because this is, containing nothing but original series episodes. And then we have an introduction by David Gerald. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And then the third edition, being the Classic Episodes of Star Trek, it has an introduction by Norman Spinrad. Again, I hope I said that correctly. Next, we have the Star Trek interview book. All new interviews with the original series stars and crew of the entertainment phenomenon. So again, this is for the original series. So as you can tell, my mother was a massive original series fan. She definitely had a massive crush on Leonard Nimoy's Spock. And as well, I just realized as well with this book, there are some photos in here as well. So here is a William Shatner, James C. Kirk in the first portrait session taken after Star Trek archived series status. Then we have one here of a portrait of Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock, taken before the production of the Corbomite maneuver. Note the command insignia. Then we have Grace Lee Whitney as Yeoman Janice Reed. We also have James Doohan Scotty tends the transporter in Where No Man Has Gone Before. The second pilot. Then let me move on to the next page here. We have William Shatner Kirk appealing to Nomad in The Changeling. Then we have George Takei, Sulu, Walter Koenig, Chekhov, Nichelle Nichols, Uhura, and James Doohan Scotty man the bridge. Then there's this one of DeForest Kelley, Dr. Leonard McCoy, and a gag shot taken during the filming of Spectre of the Gun. Then we have a third season portrait of George Takei and Walter Koenig. Then we have Leonard Nimoy in Mission Impossible days, in his Mission Impossible days, playing a magician in The Falcon. Then we have an imposing study of Admiral Kirk taken for the Star Trek The Motion Picture. Then we have Mr. Spock on Vulcan, a sketch by costume designer Robert Fletcher for Star Trek The Motion Picture. We have George Takei during a tense moment from Star Trek 3. We have Walter Koenig for Star Trek 3. And then the final page here has DeForest Kelley and William Shatner contemplate Spock's future in Star Trek 3. And at the very bottom here, we have Nichelle Nichols in a publicity portrait taken at the time of Star Trek 3. And those seems to be the only photos. I think there'll be like a few books of that I'll try to go through all of them to show off the photos. Next, we have this big behemoth of a book called Star Trek Invasion. So those are the people behind it there. So this has many different stories. We have Star Trek First Strike, Star Trek The Next Generation, The Soldier of Fear, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Time's Enemy, and Star Trek Voyagers, The Final Fury. So it's, a big compilation of different stories from, at the time, all these Star Trek shows that had come out. Now, next I have this. If you've seen my channel before, you know what this is, and why I'm actually going to save this for last. But there's a special reason for this, because I have two versions of I Am Spock. I have this hardback edition, and then I have a normal one. So again, I'll save that one for last. Next, I have a big book here titled Star Trek Action. So I think this is just going to have pictures of and text going through the production of Star Trek. For, by the looks of things, to be Next Gen, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine's production. So here's just a quick little look. Oh, look, there's the Dauntless. Because I do have an Eaglemoss of that, which obviously you've seen in this video, at the beginning of the video. So building the set, the engineering for the Dauntless by the looks of things. There's Kate Mulgrew. So yeah, so that's that. Here is, well, the back is, has this dust cover on it. So, and then the last one for this section, we have Star Trek Mr. Scott's Guide to the Enterprise, written and illustrated by Shane Johnson, based upon the engineering logs of Chief Engineer Montgomery Scott. So yeah, that's what this is. It's just going through schematics and how to basically run the ship. So there's the anatomy of a crew with the Monster Maroon armor, the different insignias. So we have command, we have science, we have medical, we have engineering and related services, we have weapons and defense, and then we have communications, which is interesting that none of these also have their own set badges. We even have more. Transporter system, shipboard services, environmental engineering. Let's see, shipboard symbols. We have directory, rec deck, turbo lift, phaser battle games, airlock / docking ports, 3-dimensional chess. We have cargo facility and light cube tables. So yeah, now it's time for me to go put these away and go grab the next stack of Star Trek books. What are you doing in there? Get away from me, books! Psst, 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 psst. There he goes. Okay, on to the next section of books that are out of reach. It's a very small section, but we'll go through them. So starting off with, I do have, this is zoomed in, whoops, To the Stars, the autobiography of George Takei, Star Trek's Mr. Sulu, with 8 pages of photographs, abridged edition. So yeah, again, have not read any of these books, but let's have a look at the photos. So this is George Takei with his mother, Fumiko Emily Takei, and father Takakuma Norman Takei. I hope I've said those right. Between them is Toyoshaki Komai, the publisher of Rafo Shimbo, the oldest English-Japanese daily newspaper in the United States. Then we have another photo of his family before the war. Nancy is my mother in my mother's arms. Henry is on our left, and that is me carrying a comic book. So then here we have photos of him in the internment camp. So we have the two sorry, I just said the fucking word. The two internment camps that were our homes for the duration of World War II, above some of the dangerous interns. Again, I'm dyslexic. Changing classes at the camp in Rahway, Arkansas, below the barracks during one of the cold winters at the camp in Tulare Lake, located in Northern California near the Oregon border. And then we have here my kindergarten photo taken at Rohware, and then my mother and us kids during our internment at Tulare Lake. I'm on the far left. So these are some, those were some very powerful photos, because I don't think I've actually seen any photos from the Japanese internment camps during World War II. It's something that I didn't know about until I was in my late teens, that this was an actual thing that happened. That's how covered up it was for me. And to be honest, I still don't know a lot about the internment camps in general. So home again, Henry, Nancy, and me in front of our house. Parents bought after the war. My UCLA graduation photo, and my more familiar guys as helmsman of the USS Enterprise, Lieutenant Sulu. Then we have Sulu at the helm in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Then he has a photo of his mother. My mother takes the first step on my star at the Hollywood Walk of Fame just prior to the release of Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. Sulu borrows a helicopter in Star Trek IV. And the last set of photos here is at last in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Sulu gets his first command, the USS Excelsior. The actual promotion scene was filmed for Star Trek II, but was cut from the final film, which is interesting. I don't think I actually knew about that. And then there's the blurb on the back. So here is the other edition of I Am Spock by Leonard Nimoy. And the story goes, this was actually either a birthday or Christmas gift to my mother by one of my aunts, not knowing that she had actually gone out and bought the hardback edition. So, very interesting. However, I do not own a copy of his first autobiography titled I Am Not Spock, unfortunately. And so there is the back of the book. Then we have another of the new Star Trek novels, The 3-Minute Universe by Barbara Paul. And yeah, as you can see, she's seen better days over the years, but there is the blurb on the back. Next, we have the new Star Trek novel, Doctor's Order by Diane Duane. I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize. And then there is the blurb. Then we have the novelization of The Wrath of Khan. Of The Wrath of Khan. Now, in the novelization, it does explain how Chekhov knew who Khan was, and that's because during his time on the Enterprise, he, at that point, during Space Seed, he was stationed in engineering. So that's how he knew, how he knew Khan. And next we have another Star Trek novel, Blackfire, because of just how bad this is. But there seems to be so this is after the motion picture with the refit Enterprise. Next we have Star Trek Dreams of the Raven. So again, no idea if any of these are any good. So if you have read any of these, please do let me know. Next, we have a hardback of an epic story that spans the generations, Star Trek Federation. So again, here is the blurb. So let me know if you have read this or not. And then the next one that I have here is William Shatner with Chris Hersick, Star Trek Memories, the inside story of the classic TV series. So I'm pretty sure there's, oh yeah, so there are some photos to come out of this book. So I'm just going to quickly flick through. So here's some sketches. There's Kirk and Uhura. And then we have Kirk up there. And here we go. So yeah, moving on to the next stack before I have to go and get some more. We have the making of the TV series Star Trek. So yeah, this basically goes through it, and there are some photos. So as always, let's go through them and see what photos we have. Starting off with James Doohan as Montgomery Scott. If I can go on to the next page, then we have George Takei as Sulu. We have Nichelle Nichols. Then we have Majel Barrett, Walter Koenig. Then we have Spock Station on the bridge, as well as Captain Station looking towards the main viewer. Then we have Corridor of the Enterprise. Then we have Sick Bay, we have Diagnostic Bed, we have Briefing Room, the Rec Room. We have the three-dimensional chess, the Jeffries tube, much of the ship's critical engine circuitry in this area. Then here we have main engineering control panel and engineering section. Then here we have the medical pouch. We have a hypo needle, a medical scanner, and a spray dressing. And here's a better look at all of the equipment used by McCoy. So we have the hypo, we have heart, pulse, temp, and blood pressure. We have a spray healer. We have a reader tube for field use, earpiece, electronic receiver just used on the bridge. We have a universal translator, which I don't recall seeing in the original series. Hold on. I apologize, I had to sneeze there. But then here we have the Mark II phaser, which I did show off that I do own. So there's the phaser unit, the hand phaser, and the inside details of the phaser. Then we have a Klingon hand weapon, as well as the side view of the phaser pistol. Then over here we have Spock built ray generator and energy neutralizer. Then we also have offensive/defensive ray gun, emits a light beam. Then we have, of course, the tricorder and the communicator. Then we have opticals sequence getting zapped by a phaser, courtesy Westheimer Co. Then we have a bolt of lightning hitting man. Boom, boom. And then there's the aftermath. So then we have part of the makeup sequence involving aging. And then here we are for that. For that one episode where Kirk, McCoy, and Spock aged up. And then here is the final result of Kirk, McCoy, and Scotty. I forgot Scotty was the other one. So then flicking on, we have kind of fallen out pictures for Amok Time. And then on the back here, we have Nurse Chapel and McCoy operating on a patient. Kirk and McCoy in the Apple. And then we have this one. And then on the back here is Leonard Nimoy and Bill Thesis. I don't know. But since these have actually fallen out, I might actually blue tack them up onto my wall as makeshift posters. And then the Damsel. Vulcan ruler, which is also fallen out. That's how old this book is. And then, of course, we have Sarek and Amanda, Spock's parents. So that's something else I can stick up onto the wall. And then here's another photo. Then we have Who Mourns for Adonis and Space Seed. And then we have not Chekhov, Sulu there. Then on to the next page, we have Journey to Babel, which we have more pages that are falling out, which I will definitely stick up, especially that photo there of the main 3-0. Then here we have second pilot, where Noma has gone before. Note style of shirt, sideburns, and gold braid on sleeve. And then on the back here, we have from their clothes in Assignment Earth. Initially, I thought that would have been for what's Yesterday's Enterprise? No, not Yesterday's Enterprise. The City on the Edge of Forever. Anyway, we have Kirk in action for Who Mourns Adonis, which has now just come off. So we have a set photo for that. Then we have Spock with the Vulcan harp. And then on the back here, we have Bill Shatner studies script. And then here's another behind the scenes photo op. We have the briefing room. We have then the technicians at work on the bridge. Then over here we have more behind the scenes photos. Then we have what looks to be DC Fontana on set of one of the episodes. That looks to be the Vasquez Rocks, I think. I could be wrong. And then the last one here is Joe Pevery, the director. And that's all the photos in that one. But yeah, since all of these have just come out or have been out for a while from the book, I more than likely will end up sticking these up because I only have one Star Trek poster, and that is, as you've seen, the Insurrection one. So I will, of course, go through these in my own time and stick them up on my wall. Next, we have Quotable Star Trek. So this has a bunch of different quotes. We also have a picture there. So we'll pick a random page and we'll read the top one. For a ship and crew to function well, it always starts with the captain. You set the tone. Minute to Picard, TNG, episode 11001001. And so yeah, that's basically it. It's just a bunch of different quotes throughout the show's history. Different sometimes scare people. I have learned that some of them use humor to hide it. Data Talal in TNG's episode The Offspring. So we'll go here. Let's see. These are Keeley flowers, beautiful and remarkably strong. The stem is flexible, impossible to break, but occasionally on the same plant, there's a bloom whose stem is not so flexible. Ah, here's one. And when the stem is brittle, it breaks. You're saying that the Maquis crew is rigid and inflexible. That they will never adjust to Starfleet rules. No, Mr. Vulcan, I'm saying that you are rigid and inflexible, but maybe if you learn to bend a little, you might have better luck with your class. Neelix to Tuvok. And then flicking on to we'll go to here. So we have some TOS ones from Spock's brain. We just want to talk to somebody about Spock's brain. That's all. McCoy to Kara. Brain, brain, what is brain? Cara to Kirk. Herbert, 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 Herbert. This way to Eden. So yeah, that's basically it. So if you want to get your quotes without actually, having to, try to find it online, this book has all of them up until Voyager. Just mind's eye on that one. Next we have Beam Me Up, Scotty. Star Trek Scotty in his own words, James Doohan with Peter David. So yeah, this is James Doohan's autobiography, and there are some photos. So as always, let's have a look. So this was my very first picture, me with my mother, Sarah Frances Doohan in 1920. My father, William Patrick Doohan. This was taken sometimes after I returned home from service. Then we have here, even fascinated with things, where things go. Here I am driving between two of my childhood chums, my sister Margaret and my potier Nell. There he is. This is Kay Glenn. I had just finished my training. My sister Margaret in one of my mother's creations. Two cadets all turned out. That's Jim Stokes on the left. My brother Bill with a bridesmaid outside the church where my brother Tom and his wife Joan were married. Then I finally get to meet my grandmother. Here we are outside her house in Liverpool during the war in 1941. Still in England and still waiting to serve. This was taken April of 1943. Here I am outside the theatre of one of my earliest acting jobs with my friend Johnny Carson. One of my many parts in Canadian Broadcasting Company productions for television. Here I am playing psychiatrist trying to help emotionally disturbed girls. Let's see, what is this? The Neighborhood Playhouse School of Theatre. So this is a letter that James Doohan had received. I'm not going to read it all. You can pause to read for yourself. At the Maverick Theatre, Woodstock, New York, this was a very well received production of Rope. Then there he is foreshadowing a part in Space Command for the CBC. This was touted as a mature science fiction show for younger viewers. Then, as always, a Ford man. Here I am working on the Mustang I owned during the shooting of Star Trek. A publicity photo from 1968 to 69 season of Star Trek. If I can move on to the next page. So, for a man in the wilderness, a role I enjoyed immensely. As barrister in the trial of James McNeill Whistler. Then here is some photos from Star Trek The Motion Picture. Had a marvelous engineering set. Visitor of the set of the Star Trek The Motion Picture. Here I am with Wendy and our son, who would later go on to play James Doohan in a bunch of Star Trek stuff. Some of it being fan stuff, but also in Star Trek Online. With Nick Myers at the helm, the Enterprise crew returns in Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan. What I thought was Scotty's fitting tribute to a lost comrade. Then we have Star Trek IV The Voyage Home, gave us all a chance to shine. Here I am with Walter Koenig, visiting between takes in San Francisco. Then Stan and Oliver trying to work a computer. Then focus. Scotty returns in The Next Generation. Ron Moore's script was a moving tribute to everyone's favorite engineer. On the bridge of the Enterprise, no A, B, C, or D, with Patrick Stewart, who was great to work with. And then the last photos here in the book, we have at Milwaukee School of Engineering, where I received an honorary degree in engineering. What else? And the last appearance of Montgomery Scott in Star Trek Generations. So yeah. Then 2 more books to show up before I have to go get some more. We have Star Trek Sarek by A.C. Crispin. I know there's an audio book of this that exists on YouTube. So let me know again if it's worth the read. And then the last one for this section, we have Star Trek Vulcan's Forge, which again I know next to nothing about, but that is going to wrap it up. And now I'm going to have to go put these back and go grab another stack. Okay, we are basically now at the end. Once I get through these big books, there's just one more book, obviously the one that I've been teasing, and then that will be all of my Star Trek collection. So starting off the final stack with the Star Trek Compendium, the complete reference book, including a show-by-show guide and over 120 rare and exclusive photos. Am I going to go through all 125 photos? Absolutely not. But I will flick through the page for you here because it looks like they're just, mixed in as we go. So, yeah. Again, have not read this at all. So yeah, here is the back of the book. The next one is the Star Trek The Next Generation, The Continuing Mission, a 10th Anniversary Tribute, featuring all new chapter based on Star Trek Insurrection. So again, I will just flick through here so you can see most of the work done here. But of course, if you own the book, you know basically it all. Because I'm actually going to need to speed through this because my phone's at 10%. Next we have Star Trek, Where No One Has Gone Before, a history in picture, revised and updated, featuring more than 30 new pages of material. So again, a flick through here. If you own the book, you know what's in it. I don't have the battery space to go through it all. But yeah. Next, we have the big behemoth that is the Star Trek Encyclopedia, a reference guide to the future by Michael Okuda, Denise Okuda, and Debbie Myrick. I probably butchered the last one there. But yeah, this is the go-to, Mike and Denise Okuda have been working on the production side of Star Trek for who knows how fucking long. I mean, like, we've got, names of every ship, or just, life forms, the description, of just all of it. I know there's names of all the ships as well. So let's see what we have here. Object name, description. So there is a lot here. Like, these are the different types of shuttles that we have. The Galileo, the Enterprise D ones, Earth Space Stock ones, stuff like that. So, and then here is the name of all the Federation ships that were done in around this time, like the USS Gorkon, the Grissom. Well, there's 2 different Grissoms, both Oberth class, but both of you got destroyed. The Hathaway, the Hermes, the Hood, two different versions of the Hood, Horizon, Intrepid. As we know, there are multiple different Intrepids. One was a Constitution class, and then another one was an Excelsior Intrepid, and then of course there's the Intrepid. And then there's also the Intrepid class of Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise, but obviously this came out way before then. Then the next one is Star Trek Phase 2, the untold story behind this Star Trek television series that almost was. Yes, before the motion picture, there was Phase 2. And this goes through all of that, including some scripts. Obviously, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because my phone's nearly dead. And then lastly, we have the Star Trek The Next Generation Technical Manual, a fascinating look inside the Enterprise D by Rick Sternbach and Michael Okuda, with special introduction by Gene Roddenberry. And so again, it goes through the technical side of the D and all that's there. It even at one point, I can't remember the page, shows what future Enterprise E's, the Enterprise E might look like. Because this was before we had the Sovereign class. So yeah. And now the final thing that I hope my phone doesn't die before I got to show, as I alluded to, is this version, the hardback version of Leonard Nimoy's I Am Spock. That is actually signed by the man himself. So there's his signature there. That is my mother's name. She got this signed on the 21st of the 11th, 1995, in Eason's up in Dublin when he went on tour. So yeah, this holds a very special place in my heart. This is my holy grail. This is my most prized Star Trek possession that you would have to kill me to get off of my cold dead hands. But that is everything. And that is everything. I have no idea how long this video is because I have yet to add the new footage in with the hour, but I can say it's probably close to about 2 hours by now. So yeah, that is my entire Star Trek collection as of the 13th of December. Obviously there's, more stuff that I'm missing, some stuff that I would love to get, like more of the Eaglemoss ships. I'd love to get some of those in maybe some more action figures as well from like the 90s. So there's definitely some grails that I do have, and unfortunately that means eBay is going to be my option. But yeah, that is everything. So if you managed to make it through to for this video, please do like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, and it's free, so you can always unsubscribe later on if you want. So next Wednesday will be another collection showcase. I don't know if it's going to be my Blu-ray collection or my TV show collection. I got the hiccups now, but I'm sure I'll figure that out when I go to film it. Anyway, that is going to be it for me, so I'll see you all on the next upload, which will be, of course, next Wednesday. I'll see you all next time.